players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion, going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick Podcast, your #1 sports destination.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion, going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion, going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick Podcast, your #1 sports destination.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion, going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. The Eye Test with Pierre McGuire and Jimmy Murphy.
The Stanley Cup winning Colorado Avalanche. And after 22 years, Raymond Marsh
The sickest NHL podcast. Brought to you by TCS Customs and Logistics. Moving pieces, delivering peace of mind. It's gonna be sick.
And welcome to another edition of the Eye Test here on the Sick Podcast Network. He is Pierre McGuire. I am Jimmy Murphy, and soon we will be joined by Minnesota Wild General Manager Billy Guerin before the biggest game of their season as they have a chance to clinch a playoff berth. Pierre, just to bring our listeners and viewers up to date before we catch up, if the Wild can clinch a playoff berth tonight if they get at least 1 point against the Ducks, or if the Blues lose to Utah in any fashion, or the Flames lose to the Golden Knights in any fashion. The latter there, the Flames losing to the Golden Knights, I'm thinking won't happen, but we'll get to that later just because the Golden Knights are pretty much resting all their big guns. But Pierre, before we get to those games and the Wild and all the playoff scenarios, let's look back on the night that was in Montreal last night, where the Chicago Blackhawks steal the show from Ivan Demidov and the Montreal Canadiens. As we were just saying off air, and as you said last night with Tony Marinaro, and we agree, Montreal Canadiens played a little too loosey-goosey in that game, Pierre.
You know how people call games trap games?
Mm-hmm.
Montreal trapped themselves. After they got a 2-0 lead and the fans started singing, the players kind of said, okay, we're just going to play a shinny game tonight because that's the way Chicago wants to play. That's the worst thing you could ever do as a group. And I'll tell you why. You got a bunch of kids on the other team. Most of them have never even been in that building. Some of them probably never been to Montreal. And all of a sudden they're saying, wow, this stuff in Montreal is really true. And then all of a sudden Montreal says, well, we'll just let you play shinny. We'll just play shinny the rest of the game. And guess what happened?
Yeah.
Shinny didn't work for Montreal. It really worked well. They Chicago squeezed the life out of that game. Said, you know what? We're going to win this game 2-0. We're going to go back to the 1995 New Jersey Devils. We're just going to lock the neutral zone down. We're going to destroy their small guys. We're not going to take penalties. Everything's to the outside. One shot and you're done. These guys just said, no, we're just going to air it out. We're going to play footloose and fancy free. Of all the games Montreal's played this year, of all of them, that's the most disappointed I've been all year.
Isn't that amazing? And it was on the biggest game of the year. And look, I don't want to take anything away from what was an amazing debut for Demidov. Nobody can take that away. He was amazing.
No, he was phenomenal.
You know, so that's not the issue here. The issue is what this team did as a team. And you're absolutely right, Pierre. They looked ahead. They got comfortable. And, you know, I think people forget, we mention this all the time at this time of year, these teams that are out of it, sometimes they can be the most dangerous because they've got nothing to lose except their jobs next year, which they want to secure.
Yeah. So the last 3 years, the Pittsburgh Penguins 2 years ago, they had that.
Oh, yeah.
They had that. Last year, they had the same thing. I was going to call them the Detroit Stars, the Detroit Red Wings. They had the same thing last year. There are all these teams, whether it's Columbus, Chicago, all these teams that say, you know what? We're going to knock your fun out. We're just going to ruin your night.
Yep.
And we're going to ruin your postseason. And we're going to make your offseason miserable.
Yep. Yeah.
And that's what happened.
And that's what and you could feel, you know, too, when Reichel scored, Pierre, you could just feel it get sucked out of the building.
Can we just, I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
Okay. Can people stop blaming Demidov for that?
Oh, yeah.
Please do me a favor. Keep it cool. Watch the tape and watch what Lane Hudson does. And you know, I'm the president of the Lane Hudson fan club.
Yes.
But I also have to tell the truth. Lane, and I guarantee you they brought him in the video room today. There's no way he's got to go play that puck carrier on the boards.
No.
Get back and defend the deepest, most dangerous guy. And the most deep, dangerous guy was Reichel. Now, I'm going to give Landon Slaggert a ton of credit. That's a beautiful saucer pass. That's a brilliant pass. Brilliant pass. But if Lane Hudson's doing his job, respecting the back, because Caden Gooley had already pinched. So he knows there's no other need to help him. Yep. You got to get back there. Yeah. You don't make the play at the board. You got to make the play deep so that guy doesn't get the puck.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, Pierre, because as I said to you before we got on here, I mean, there's too much blame going around to a kid. Like, what do you want? He got a goal and assist in his first game. And as you say, it wasn't even really his fault. So just lay off Demidov on that play right now. And the other thing, too, you see Reichel's, I don't know if you noticed it, too, Reichel's eyes when he got, like, whoa, like, oh my God, I'm going in alone. Like, wow.
How did I get so open?
Yeah,
But
I mean,
this is for all the people that are really angry at Demidov. You should send a note to ownership in Montreal and to management. Say, we can't stand it. We're not going to buy any season tickets. We're not going to buy any beer unless you trade Demidov. We're not going to. We refuse to support the organization. I dare you. That kid's going to be so good. Jimmy, we watch players all the time, you and I, and we talk about it a lot. What people don't see is how much we talk about different scenarios around the league and players and things that we see. And to me, I learn a lot, and it makes the exercises so much fun to do. You could watch that guy for 3 shifts and say, okay, we don't need analytics on this guy. This guy's really special.
Yeah.
This guy's really special.
It was something. And to be able to do it too in that environment, in that situation, with all the spotlight on him. I mean, look at the way when he came out for the rookie lap there in the warm-ups. I mean, the roof was going to fall down, and they hadn't even started the game yet. So to be able to seize that moment and capitalize on it, I give him a lot of credit, and I look forward to a bright future for him with the Montreal Canadiens there. Pierre, one more thing on that game I wanted to get your take on, and we were talking about it before we came on the air here, is Slafkovsky. I know he scored, and good on him that he's in the right place at the right time there. But at the same time, what's your take on what's going on with him overall right now?
Just lack of consistency. And if you're going to be an elite power forward in the league and you're going to be a number 1 overall pick, they don't grade you on being an A one night and a D the next. They grade you on being consistent. And right now his grade is inconsistent.
You think it's all mental right now?
I do. I think now, because of what's happened with Demidov coming in, he's looking over his shoulder. He was the talk of the town for a long time. His line was the talk of the league for a long time. And now after last night, you know who they're talking about. They're not talking about him. And if they are, they're not talking about him in a good way. They're talking about him in a tough way. And Demidov is the guy that everybody's like, oh my gosh, this guy's unbelievable. So look, Slafkovsky, I personally think, I could be wrong, but I don't think I will be on this. He's going to be really good for a long time.
I think so too.
He's going to be really good for a long time.
These are the learning, the growing pains for a player. I know he's a number 1 pick, and people always expect number 1 picks to instantly be good and be their best player on the team. It just doesn't really work that way 90% of the time. It's rare when it happens.
I'm not saying he's ever going to be as good as Jaromir Jagr, okay? I'm not. Please hear me when I say this. But I know what went into getting Jaromir Jagr to a certain level because I was there doing it, okay? And I didn't do it alone. He was a big part of it too. But the extra work after practice, the refinement of the skating, the development of how to establish yourself physically. Rick Keough worked on his shot with him forever. And, we were doing ground and pound stuff with him for a long time to get him to move his feet all the time. Because he used to be able to just stick handle and standing still, and he'd beat guys. But then we tell him, you want to be the next level. You want to be Mario Jr., this is where you got to go. And he was so receptive, and that's what needs to happen with Slav. I am not saying he's Jaromir. Please don't miss it. And I know
I know what you're saying. You're saying to get him to his full potential, this is what needs to happen.
They need, and I don't see them practice. So maybe they're doing it. But if they're doing it, they're not doing it well enough.
Right.
They need
You're just comparing the situations. I get it.
Yes, that's all I'm saying. Yes.
Yeah. And I'm always here to not let people put words in your mouth. Don't worry.
Thank you. I know that.
I know how it feels. I'll tell your story off air with this whole Bruins thing that's going on. Anyhow, back to this game quickly, or to the Montreal Canadiens. They will play again tomorrow night. They'll host the Carolina Hurricanes. Rod Brindamore is saying that they are going to rest a ton of people too. So you're going to be getting, a lot of guys that don't necessarily get a lot of playing time are going to move up the lineup. So that's good for the Canadiens. But again, you can't look ahead there. If you're drawing out the lineup right now, do you drop Slav down and put Demidov up on the first line?
I wouldn't right away. I told you what I'd do. I told you what I would have done last night.
And I thought you're right. That backfired. That
definitely backfired. I would have done. And did you see what happened? Did you see? All of a sudden, they switched it around. They put Laine with Demidov. They put Laine with Newhook.
So there was no need to say it before.
No need to say any of this. This is what I told. Listen, if you watch our show, I said This is how you got to do it. It's the Bowman School of Coaching. It's Bowman 101.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, they announced everything publicly. So one guy's feelings are already hurt. Laine, his feelings are already hurt going into the game. And then all of a sudden, halfway through the first period, they switched and they put Laine with the – I'm like, what are you guys doing? Why would you do that publicly before the game? Like that stuff, this is stuff they need to learn.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm not saying they're bad coaches. They're not. They're good coaches. They've done an amazing job.
Yeah.
These are the subtle little things that matter. And they can say, oh, well, I love it when they say, well, you guys are old. The game's passed all of you by. This is stuff that mattered 50 and 60 years ago.
And still
People's
matters
feelings
today.
don't change.
Yes.
They matter.
There's definitely things, and I've noticed that too, Pierre, just from being around the game for the last 20 years and learning from you. But there are definitely things when it comes to coaching or little nuances that are never going to change about the game of hockey and pro hockey. And that's just the way it is. And it's the ones that can recognize that, and we're not saying don't evolve by any means. You need to evolve with the game, but you also need to recognize that and keep that in the back of your mind. All right, finally, you agree with me. Who cares about the shootout goal? You shouldn't have got to that point anyways. And you know what? I'm fine with it. A lot of people are mad saying it shouldn't have counted. It is what it is, man. And if the Canadiens don't sit back, they're not in that situation anyhow.
Yeah. All of the above.
Okay.
I was just laughing because I didn't watch the Canadian feed on Amazon. I watched the feed from Chicago.
Right.
They knew right away it was a goal.
Yeah. I
They
know.
knew
How
right
about
away.
I heard, so you were watching, I heard, did they have audio on the bench where he went over to the bench and he was like, guys, I scored. And you're like, no, you didn't. And he's like, no, I'm telling you.
The puck was in. Like they knew he scored. And I'm just look at Graham Skilleter's a good official, number 24, and number 6, Francis Charon. He's a good official too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and just tell you, how'd those guys miss that?
Yeah.
Like, no. If you watch the tape of that from the corner of the rink, watch where 24 is looking.
Mm-hmm.
He never how does he not see that go? I'm sorry, Jimmy. That's not a forehand rifle shot. That's on the backhand with a bouncing puck.
Yeah.
Come on.
I wonder, Pierre, and I've never been in their shoes, so I'm not going to pretend to know what it's like to be in their shoes in a situation like that. But I always wondered sometimes, and when it comes to a controversial goal like that, if sometimes the linesmen or the refs have it in their head split second before what it's going to be. And it's almost, I don't want to say premeditated, but it's almost like they've got the instinct. This is where it's going. And they stick with that. And they don't actually say, wait a minute, well, I was wrong. I wonder how that, because you're right. You're looking at it and you're trying to put it from their point of view. And I don't know how they don't see that's a goal.
So, Jimmy, you know my theory on the referees. There should be one armband guy on the ice, and the other guy should be upstairs with a headpiece talking to the linesman and talking to the referee. Mm-hmm. We never would have had any of this. It would have been fixed. No, he would have said, no, sorry, that's a goal.
Yep. Move
Blow
on.
it in. Let's go. Line A, you're up.
Yep.
You take the shot from Montreal. Your team's down 1-0. How about the game Frankie Nazar played?
Oh, he's been great lately.
Well, so really it shows you here's a guy that can really skate. He can play shinny really well. And now he's starting to feel in it. He's starting to feel it. So
did you think he should have been drafted higher? You look back at it.
I'm going to say he got drafted at the appropriate spot from where he was. His speed was always an unbelievable asset, though. Mm-hmm. You know, the one thing that will be found out when Chicago's playing games that are relevant for them. Last night was relevant for Montreal. It wasn't so relevant for Chicago. And there's a checking process that happens. We'll see whether his speed becomes more of a factor. I don't know if it will or won't. That's what I'm waiting to see as we go forward.
Okay. He was great, though. He was. And
he was fantastic.
Yeah.
Hey, you know who else was good? Sam Rinzel. Sam Rinzel was outstanding last night. Now, he didn't score, but oh, my goodness gracious. Like, you're talking about a big, long, lean guy that's got unbelievable skills. Like, we talked about it. Chicago, people are pounding on them, but I'm telling you, they got players.
They just need centers.
They need centers, but they got players. They have players.
Got some players. And Slager, you mentioned him earlier. Obviously, we were with his dad way back when we were over at the Friendship 4. he has come on, Pierre, and I'm not saying he's going to be some top line superstar, but he's really establishing himself as a middle six guy, and he works so hard. I mean, when he goes along the boards there, I've watched Chicago a couple times down the stretch here. He's always digging it out to his teammates. He really is.
That's a really good pickup by you. So what he is he's a coach's dream, because you don't have to really do much with him. He just goes out there. He knows exactly what you need to do to win. That saucer pass, he knew if I don't get it up, if I don't get it there, it's not going to work. So he gets certain things. He's really smart. He's obviously from a hockey family, and he did well. He did well.
All right, we're going to get Billy Guerin shortly join us here on the eye test. Just making sure I don't have a text from him. No, we're good. Quickly back to these playoff scenarios. Another team, obviously, the teams that we're watching right now, the St. Louis Blues, Pierre. I mean, I think it was expected after the run they went on. What they reached, was it 12 or 13?
Just all they got to do is take care of home ice advantage. They play Utah. Just take care of home ice.
Just take care of home ice.
Just take care of home ice, and you're good. If you don't take care of home ice, then you look. What Montgomery's done there, Jimmy, I'm blown away by what he's done, and I think you are too. We've talked about it. Yeah. The fact they're even relevant now, this late into the season, they're at game 81. The fact they're even relevant right now is amazing to me. And look, when Jimmy went there, he inherited a mess, and that's not on Drew Bannister. The roster wasn't very good.
No,
getting Cam Fowler has
that's
really
one of the most underrated trades of the season.
It really helped change a lot for their team. Really changed a lot.
That's great pro scouting by the Blue Scouts.
Yeah, and not trading Braden Shen was really good too.
Yep. And then the Maple Leafs, Pierre, the team that you're pretty high on, you've been adamant you think they could come out of the East. They can clinch the Atlantic Division tonight if they get at least 1 point against the Sabres, or the Lightning lose to the Panthers in any fashion. I think they go into Buffalo and get it done. And I like the way this team's been playing, even when they're resting guys, even with some guys hurt. They're playing that playoff style hockey right now, Pierre. And I think they're going in on a good note.
They got depth in goal. They've got depth on defense. They've got depth down the middle. And the biggest thing, they've got depth on the bench. They've got depth everywhere. They really do. They're deep, and they're gonna be a beast to handle. If Matthew stays healthy, if Tavares stays healthy, and they should. We don't know. There's no guarantees. If Marner plays the way he's capable of, and Nylander keeps going, they just have way too much, and the size they have on the left side. Look at the size they have on the start with Matthew Nyes, go to Bobby McMahon. If Pacioretty ever comes back, Stevie Lorentz, they're just gigantic on the left side. They're huge.
You look at their D2, Pierre, and I don't know. I mean, I'm not, reading the Toronto media every single day, and I'm not up there getting the vibe, but I don't know about you, but I think Morgan Riley has really improved defensively this year. I think he's having one of his better seasons defensively.
There's no question, and it really – Braden Coburn's helped him a lot. He has. Braden Coburn's helped him. The last couple of games he hasn't played with Braden, and that's because McCabe was hurt.
You mean with Carlo?
Or just Coburn, Carlo. Thank you. Thank you. That's a good catch, and I appreciate you telling me. So Carlo hadn't played with him the last little while, so it's been good. But I would here's the biggest thing with Morgan. He's got confidence now. He had 3 assists the other day. In Carolina, when most of the people on TV were saying he was hurt Saturday night. He goes in for an early turnaround in Carolina and gets 3 assists. So I think he's really comfortable and confident.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And then, like you said, the goaltending has never been better. First time in history, Pierre, that the Toronto Maple Leafs have had 2 20-game winners for a goalie tandem, which is pretty amazing if you think about it.
For less than $5 million.
I know. And I was trying, I'm like, wow, really? But then if you think about it, they've always really just had that one workhorse and then a traditional backup. They've never really had the 1A and 1B, and they've got that now. And that's huge.
They do. Well, Stolarz was a big get for them. They're pro scouts. They did some good stuff in the summer. Oliver Ekman-Larsson was a good pickup. Tanev was obviously a good pickup. Stolarz was a really good pickup. They did some really good stuff. Getting Bobby, they're college scouts. They deserve a whack of credit. Getting Bobby McMahon out of Colgate, he started his career in the East Coast Hockey League in Newfoundland. That guy's he's money, man. He's good. He's really good.
Over to the Calgary Flames quickly, Pierre. They're still alive. They obviously need a big win tonight. One guy that's been turning on lately is someone that I remember you telling me about years ago when he was skating at Harvard and you were watching him practice a lot. And that's Matthew Coronato. He has been huge during this stretch for the Calgary Flames, Pierre.
Yeah, he's a really good player.
Yeah.
I've watched him a lot. That's why I told you. I mean, you got to watch guys practice. You got to watch guys work. He's really good. He's hot. His hockey literacy is insane.
Yeah.
That's his thing. He's not the fastest guy. He's not the biggest guy. He's really strong. He's really well built. He's solid. He reminds me a lot the way he's built. Remember Sergei Brylin?
Oh yeah.
He reminds me a lot of Sergei, hockey strong, you know.
Yep.
This guy's peripheral vision is insane, and his ability to make plays in confined areas is phenomenal. I'm a huge fan. I watched him have some big battles with my son over the years, and I really enjoyed watching them get after one another. It was really good.
And the other guy too that's been turning on for Calgary, Pierre, Sharon Govich.
Last little while has been good. He's been really good. Came over from Jersey. He's got good size. He's got an excellent motor. He's starting to find his offense now. I don't think his career will be determined by how much offense he gets, even though he's getting it now. It'll be more about, did he kill penalties? Was he a good forechecker? Did he force turnovers? Did he make the players around him better because of the physicality to his game? I think that's what's going to define how he plays and how important he is.
Yeah, actually, it's funny you mentioned him coming over from the Devils. I remember talking to Fitz about him, and it was kind of like, he had to do what he had to do, but he's like, it's not a guy I wanted to keep, but it happened. It's what we needed at the time. But he always liked him, so I'm happy to see him doing over there. All right, we're trying to track down Billy Guerin right now. We'll see if we can get it. Pierre, anything else? I know you were focused on Montreal and Chicago last night. Were there any other games that you caught that caught your eye?
No, I think now, one. LA Edmonton. Going to be interesting to see what the league does with Darnell Nurse for what he did. I mean, Quentin Byfield's had an amazing year. That's unacceptable. With Darnell Nurse, and if you haven't seen it, Jimmy can describe, but it was a cross check right to the head.
Yeah.
When Byfield was defenseless on the ice, I mean, it wasn't good. It was bad. But hey, what a lesson for Edmonton. Okay, I know you don't have the big guys. I know Hyman doesn't play. I know Draisaitl doesn't play. I know you don't have Oliver Ekman or you don't have Ekholm because of and the biggest thing is obviously you don't have Connor McDavid. But you didn't get beat. You got steamrolled.
Mm-hmm. Here's the question I want to ask you, Pierre, and I'm glad we don't even script this, but this is where I was going to go with that game. So you mentioned what Nurse did to Byfield there, totally unacceptable. But overall, it was pretty clear that winning that game wasn't exactly the focus, in my opinion, of the Edmonton Oilers. That was a message sending type thing for them where they were like, look, we're going to be in your face. This is going to be a physical series. Don't think even if we've got some of our big guys out to start this series that we're going to be easy to get by. I felt like throughout that game, they were almost over-consumed with sending a physical message as opposed to the game itself.
Yep.
Can that happen?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think you're onto something. I think it's a great point.
So how do you find that balance when you're in that situation? You're playing a team. Because I remember times, when there was that stretch where the Bruins and Canadiens were playing year after year in the first round, and you would see things like that happen, but they always found a balance not to let it get out of control.
Yeah, the coaches matter.
Mm-hmm.
Coaches matter in those situations. They do. The message that the coach presents to the players before the game and even between periods, it matters. I don't know what was said or not said in their room, but I'm sure there was some encouragement to be physical. I'm not saying they were saying cross-check somebody in the head. I don't think anybody would say that.
Right.
But I think they were encouraging them to maybe get their pound of flesh.
Because I'll tell you what, I feel like this could be the year LA finally does it. I just feel like they're due after what they've been through,
Why not? They have home ice now.
Yep.
I think that makes a big difference for them. They're the best home record in the league.
Yeah.
So if they just win all their home games, they win the series.
Yep. I'm with you on that. All right. Listen.
I don't know why they should be very comfortable right now.
I think this is their series, and it sounds crazy. I think this is their series to win this time.
So here's my question. If Edmonton loses, it's a question. It's not a
Yep.
statement. So all the hockey insiders, because I saved it.
Oh, yeah.
Picked Edmonton to win the cup. What do they say?
They won't say anything, Pierre, because they never admit they're wrong.
But no, the receipts are available online.
Yes, they are. And we will look at them for sure if and when that happens. I can guarantee you that. Listen, here's what I think we should do, Pierre, because it looks like Billy's a little delayed here.
Well, I have a game tonight against Anaheim.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong. That's
No,
fine.
and they also have to deal with. I'm sure there's a lot of questions about Ziv William not playing tonight.
Exactly. You know,
So,
it's a
I mean,
game day. We appreciate the fact he was taking the time anyway.
Even would consider doing it.
Exactly.
I've been there. Like, I get it. You want to help grow the game. You want to be friendly to your friends, but I also understand too.
Oh, yeah. So what I'm thinking, Pierre, just in case we do get him later, let's make sure we get to it, because we had to cut everybody short yesterday. There were about 12 questions left yesterday.
Yes.
Let's go to those right now. And then if we get Billy, we'll switch over to that. Let's get
Thank you, Jimmy. Great call. Great editorial.
All right. Let's go to TCS Customs and Logistics. As you can unlock the full potential of your shipping operation with TCS Customs and Logistics. From around the corner to around the world, flatbeds to air freight, customs clearance to drawback consulting. TCS is a one-stop shop for all things transport, moving pieces and delivering a peace of mind. For a no-obligation customs or freight quote, contact sickpodcast@shiptcs.com. Again, that is sickpodcast@shiptcs.com. And of course, let's go to our wonderful Betway gambling sponsor here. You can still go all the way with Betway and get a free bet up to $200 if your first bet loses. Scan that QR code right in front of you if you're watching, and if you're not, you can go to the details section on the website to create your new account and redeem the welcome offer. Again, the offer is only available for new customers. Terms and conditions apply. It is not available in Ontario. You must be 18 plus. Always play responsibly. Let's go to the sick pick of the night.
It's time for Sick Picks, brought to you by Betway.
All right, I mentioned the Vegas Golden Knights are going to be arresting a lot of players tonight. The Calgary Flames are playing for their lives. That's why I'm all over the Calgary Flames. Well, you can still get just over even money. They started the day before it was announced by Coach Bruce Cassidy how many guys he was arresting. They were actually heavy underdogs. It's moved all the way up to basically a pick 'em, or Calgary being a slight favorite. So if you like that pick, jump on it ASAP over at Betway right now. And my other pick, in a similar fashion, LA clinched, as Pierre pointed out, clinched home advantage for the first round. They've got nothing really to play for right now. They're on a tail end of a back-to-back going into Seattle. Seattle's been playing pretty good hockey down the stretch since they were eliminated. Obviously, just kind of free and rolling with it. I like Seattle in this one, and give me them on what you call a reverse puck line, because they're still the underdog. So when you take them on a puck line, meaning they have to win by 2 goals, you get really good value, and that is right now at plus 230. So Seattle on the puck line and Calgary on the money line. Let's get to the Q&A. What do we got? Alex Ivanowski. What's up, Alex? What are your overall thoughts on the season? Marco, the friendly ghost, we like to call him, as my friend Ian Cameron says. Marco Kasper had this season. Think he can be their number 2 center of the future? He's got more talent than I was led to believe. I love the season he's had, and I think the future's really bright.
Tremendous year. Yes, absolutely. He'll be an elite second-line center in the league. That's it. By the way, for all those people going after Yzerman really believed in that kid and really went hard after that. That's a non-traditional pick. He's an Austrian kid that was playing in Sweden and in Rogla. And that was a really good pick by Detroit. Really solid pick.
All right. You know what? We do have Bill Guerin right now, so we will get back to the Q&A in just a bit. And right now we will welcome on the general manager of the Minnesota Wild and Wilbraham's own Billy Guerin joining us here on the Eye Test. What's up, Billy?
Not too much, fellas. How you doing?
He just got done pumping a little iron, getting ready for the game tonight. He wants in. You're in.
Pumping iron, I am not. I am just in my casual game day stuff.
Billy, how's the vibe there on the biggest game of the season now as you head in?
Actually, Pierre, does it look like I just worked out?
It does, buddy.
You're looking
because I haven't lifted a weight in God.
You didn't have to.
Months.
So this is for our viewing audience. Billy,
but this is a medium.
He was the same. He was the same size when he was 14 years old playing for Gary Dineen in Springfield. Trust me.
Oh man. No, the vibe's good. And I was around a little bit this morning around the skate. I tend to try to stay out of the way most of the time on game days, especially on big games. This is a really big game. But no, the guys had a good day yesterday, good day today, and they'll be ready to go.
I want to compliment you and your coaching staff. The easiest thing to do would have been to put Zeev Buim in the lineup. You made, would have been right, Billy. Thank you. You've walked in that. The easiest thing to do is put them in. You just made a commitment to your guys. You're like, you know what? You guys have played here for a long time, 80 games, 81 games. How hard was it for you as a manager to have to walk that line?
Well, actually, it was tough, and we discussed it, at length. And there's a lot that goes into that process. I mean, you know that, Pierre. Like, what are the pros and cons for the team? What are the pros and cons for the player? When it boils down to it, he would not have had a full practice with the team. He would not have had the time it takes to bring him up to speed on systems and show him some video and things like that. So it just didn't seem like the time was right to just throw him in. He'll have his time. He'll get in there at some point in time, but we decided not to play him tonight.
Well, just so you know, and Jimmy could tell you, we said that before you came on. We compliment you because the easiest thing to do is put the kid in, and sometimes you got to save the kid from himself. I thought it was great. I think it was great.
You have to. Sometimes you have to make tough decisions, and you have to protect players too.
Yep, I agree.
Billy, we saw how great he was last year's tournament, and then throughout this season, and then this tournament as well. Is there something he did this year, whether it was in the regular season or tournament, that you didn't know about him, or that you saw improve, so to speak?
Yeah, when he waved bye-bye to the BC bench, he's in big trouble for that one. That's the real reason he's not playing tonight.
I think that might have been targeted towards one guy on BC for whatever reason.
Yeah. Well, he did say he's got about 8 buddies on the team, and that's just what these guys do. But you know what? I just love, honestly, his. I look at his skill, his hockey sense, all that stuff. I just love his competitive nature.
Yeah.
That's what I love. And you know what? You can't manufacture that for players. Like they have it or they don't. And, John Hines always says that he wants self-motivated players. And he's just got this high competitive nature. And that's what we want here in Minnesota.
You played with a lot of good defensemen. Is there one that he reminds you of, or a combo of any of them?
Yeah, one, but it's really tough to throw this name out there. You tell me, Pierre, the guy that I'm thinking of.
I think he might have worn number 27 in New Jersey. Am I right?
Yep.
Scotty Niedermayer. Yeah, I see a lot of similarities. I'm being honest. I have no problem saying that.
Yep.
No, and he's got no quality. I mean, he's got a lot of qualities that remind me of Nieder. And hey, look, if he becomes part of the player that Scott Niedermayer was, we're in a really good spot because Needs was special. And it's just kind of that the skating style, the way his body moves and things like that, and he's just really smart. And yeah, he reminds me a lot of Scotty.
Yeah, me too,
How
Billy.
much too going forward, this takes off a little pressure off of Faber too.
Yeah, and we just, look here. I just think with Faber, Yurchek, and Buim, our blue line looks pretty good for the next bunch of years, and they're all different in their style of play and what they bring to the table, but they're all very good players, and that was. Part of our trading for Juracek this year was like, hey, look at what we could do for our future. and I don't see us drafting 6 overall anytime soon, hopefully. So we took the opportunity to grab him there.
You're in a unique position. You won a Stanley Cup in 2009 as a player. The goalie on that team happens to be your goalie in Minnesota right now. Can you take us inside some of the conversations you've had as his career is right near the end and what it's been like, Billy?
Yeah, there are times where it's been emotional. I mean, this is a long, storied career, and it is coming to the end. And my message to Flower has always been this: it never ends the way you want it to. No matter what your career, there are very few guys, that have won the Stanley Cup in the place that they want to be, and they walk off into the sunset. And that's it. They get to end it on their own terms. So, some of the great players that have played the game that it just doesn't end the way you want it to. And but that doesn't mean the previous 22 years didn't mean anything. It's a legendary career, and it's going to take time for that to sink in and understand how much he's accomplished, and really just understand how big of a part of the game he's been. And it's been an incredible career, and a fun year for him, but also a tough one. And he's played great for us.
Yes.
Billy, when you brought him in, I imagine one of the things you were hoping was that he could rub off on the younger guys and mentor some of the guys and help them get through some tough times. And man, given all the injuries you guys have faced this year, you've had some tough times. What's he been like in that sense throughout the season?
Yeah, that was actually a big part of the reason we were bringing him in. To be that example. I wanted the guys to see like a bona fide Hall of Fame player in person. How does he operate on a daily basis? Whether it's within the community, on the ice for practice, in games, as a teammate, on the road, preparation. How does he handle, disappointments, and bounce back from that? And he's delivered in spades. Like he's been absolutely lights out for this organization. And we're grateful that he's been a part of this organization.
You're going to win the game tonight if you do what? Forget scoring. What do you need to establish early to win this game with Anaheim?
We just need to play our game. We need to be disciplined in our structure and our puck management. Anaheim has one of the most talented young teams in the league. They can, if they're firing on all cylinders, they can make plays, and they can score. They got 4 guys up in the rush all the time. We need to manage the puck, and we need to be in good position in all 3 zones.
Finally, before we let you go, Billy, I mentioned the injuries you guys have dealt with. Just comment on the job Heinze's done and what he's meant to this team this year.
Yeah, Heinze and our whole coaching staff has done an amazing job. And I think it goes back to the beginning of the year when John really instilled a strong belief in not just the culture, but the structure of how we play, the discipline that we have to have within that, because when all these injuries had started taking place, that's what we could fall back on. And I think he's done a masterful job.
You've done a masterful job with us today. Thank you for taking the time. It means a lot. Seriously. Now get back to pumping.
Yeah. There we go. Which way's the gym?
All right, buddy. See you later. Billy Guerin joined
the
podcast network. He's the best.
I'm just telling you, he was that big when he was 14 years old.
Aye.
And he could skate like the wind.
He must have just motored guys over, eh?
It wasn't fun. Like he had just no. So on the team, Scotty LeChance was on that team.
This is on the picks?
Yes, Springfield Olympics. Okay. Scotty LeChance was on that team. Bobby Kellogg, who ended up being a 3rd-round pick of the Chicago Blackhawks, and Billy Guerin. So he had 2 first-rounders and 1 third-rounder. And in those days in New England, and they had an amazing coach, Gary Demine, amazing coach. the late Gary Dineen, they would steamroll people.
Oh yeah.
Well, it was savage how good they were.
It's funny, Pierre. I think I mean, when I got out to UMass, I didn't realize there was a good youth and up and coming hockey culture there. And Billy had just left. He had just gone on to BC and then to the pros. But I learned a lot from people that I met through the sport just about Billy and what a legend he was out there. I mean, you go anywhere in Western Mass.
He was large.
Yeah.
And I don't mean big physically. Like his reputation was massive. And that was a heck of a pick by Lou Lamoriello and Dave Conti in New Jersey. That was a really, really good pick.
Yep. And he goes back. He does a lot for that hockey culture back there right now still. All right, let's get back to that Q&A and get rolling here. What do we got? Dan, why not try Demidov with Suzuki and Cole?
Eventually they will.
Not? Yeah,
Why not?
I'm with you, Dan.
Eventually they will. Mm-hmm.
All right. Next question. Randy Workman, question. Should Laine have been given another try in the shootout because of what happened?
No.
No.
I mean, come on. Like, does common sense ever matter? I know there are rules. I get it. But does common sense ever kick in?
Yeah. We've been through it. I get it. I get people's questions on it, but no.
I'm the biggest Montreal fan going, and I'm telling you, like, that puck was in. Move on.
Yep. It was a goal. And by the way, for those, there's some people saying Laine shouldn't have been in the shootout, Pierre. Have they checked his stats in the shootout this year and overall?
No, but here's what I would have done, just so you know. Because of the way the building was going off, and because of the way the kid was, he was the best player, Demidov should have gone first or second.
Right. And then Laine.
Yeah.
Yep.
You can't.
100%.
I'm not going to tell you the GM, and I'm not going to tell you the player, but I'm going to tell you an unbelievable story.
Okay.
I was doing a game on TV, and it went to a shootout, and it was really new. So this is like 05-06 start of the year. Shootouts had just kind of come into vogue, and this team lost in a shootout. And their best player was sitting on the bench. I'm not kidding you. Like and I was standing right there. And the player was really angry. I'm telling you, Jimmy, like really angry. And I'm like, oh, this is bad. So I just walked the other way and I got in the car and I went back to the hotel. And my cell phone rang probably 15, 20 minutes after I got in my room. And it was a GM of the team. And he goes, did my coach say one word to that player? I said, no, I'm not going to lie to you. No, he didn't say a word, but why would you ask? He goes, why wouldn't he have been the first or second shooter? Did our coach not know that the shootout could be decided in the first two shooters?
Yeah.
And I said, he probably didn't, because it's brand new for all these guys. They probably didn't even come up with a shootout protocol. So he said, would you do me a favor? I said, I'll do anything. You're my friend. Geez. Like, what do you want? He says to me, can you write down how you would run a shootout situation, create the protocol you just talked about? So I did. I wrote it. I don't know. It probably took me 40 minutes. I showed all the different thoughts that I would have if I was still coaching. And I sent it to the guy. And every time I did one of their games, they followed the protocol. And it was great. But I'll never forget how angry the player was. And I'll never forget how angry the manager was. Oh, the manager was mad. He was hot.
Did the coach ever find out where the protocol came from?
I don't think so.
Wow.
I don't think so.
It's classic.
And I did. I told the manager, who was a friend, I said, hey, if you ever tell anybody this, like, I'll be doomed. Like, this is 20 years ago. So I feel like the statute of limitations, I'm okay now. The manager's not managing, the coach isn't coaching, but the player's still kind of around.
Wow. Okay. All right. Good stuff.
Like, he's not, but he's still around.
Okay. All right. Next question. I got to find out someday. All right. Energized. Everyone is saying Canes have nothing to play for in that match versus the Habs. I don't know. Remember those offer sheets thrown towards Aho? Don't you think Carolina would want to play spoilers tomorrow? I don't know. Like, how many of those guys
don't care? The players don't care about that.
Yeah, they don't.
Players
care about
are like, throw out more offer sheets. We want more money.
I know where you're coming from as a fan. I get that, but trust me, that's not in their mind right now.
No,
they want to get to the playoffs healthy.
Their mind is Jimmy just stole it from me. So good job, Jimmy. You nailed it. Their job is to stay healthy and be ready for the playoff. 100%. Yeah. Jimmy nailed that.
Yeah. This is a big playoff for that team. There's a lot.
Oh, Jimmy,
on this
last July, when Eric Tulsky got the job, we all said, well, we didn't all, you and I said it. This is a referendum on analytics.
Yep. It's going to be very interesting to see how this all shakes out if they don't go far. All right, next question. Ron LaRoque. What's up, Ron? And thanks for your emails. I don't know if it was talked about, but was it not great to see Landeskog playing again this past weekend? It was amazing. And by the way, he has now been brought up to the Colorado Avalanche. He is on the roster.
No way. You mean they would bring that guy up?
It's so great to see this story happen.
You didn't think he was staying in the American League?
I thought he kind of liked it in Colorado Springs, man. It's simple life, you know. It's you got the scenery there.
Fort Collins.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Fort Collins.
Colorado Springs is where Colorado College plays.
That's what I'm thinking of.
And the Air Force Academy. Don't forget them either.
Fort Collins, though, is in the mountains, though, right?
Oh yeah, but it's not. It's not that far from Denver. Not that far.
Okay, gotcha. Ooh, we're getting some boomers here. Lots of thunder here, Pierre. I'm like, whoa, what's going on?
Okay, now I get it. I thought you were talking about something else. I was like,
all right, next question. A to Z me. Habs might be skating backwards into the playoffs, but the Devils stopped skating completely a long time ago. Oof. Do you guys think they have a chance whatsoever to get past the first round? You know, I've noticed that as well, and I've been hesitant to say they're in deep trouble because of the way they're playing down the stretch, because I've seen teams play crummy down the stretch and then go on runs. I don't know what your take is on that, Pierre, because I've never been able to really pinpoint the exact science on that whole scenario.
Nobody could, because if they could, they'd sell it and they'd be really rich.
Yeah.
Nobody really can figure it out. It comes down to team dynamic. The goalie matters.
Right.
Like they went out and got Markstrom for a reason. They wanted to take the next step, but they couldn't legislate against injury to Dougie Hamilton, Jack Hughes. You know, they've got Ziegenthaler. They got injuries.
Yeah.
They got injuries there. So, you know, do I think the Devils have an edge in goal if Markstrom plays well? Probably. But, you know, if you look at the overall depth, paper for paper, it's hard to think the Jersey's better than them. The one thing I'd say,
if they were healthy, it'd be a different story.
It would. Yeah. That's what. If they're healthier, it'd be different. But I think the one thing Jersey has that could cause a problem besides Markstrom, Nico Hischier.
That's a good call. Yep.
Because if Hischier ever took Aho out of it, especially when they play in Jersey, if he ever could take him out of it, that'd be a problem for Carolina offensively. That would be a problem in terms of getting in that series. It's going to be a race to 3 every night. Whoever gets to 3 first will win. You got to get to 3. That's going to be the big part of that series.
If Markstrom was to struggle early, Pierre, would you go to Allen?
I think you'd have to. You can't struggle. Like this could be one of those series. If you lose the first 2 in Carolina, if you're Jersey, it could be trouble. It could be short. It could be really short.
I think they have to split in Carolina. That's it.
I think they have to get a split. I think too.
Yep.
I agree.
All right, next question. Franco, question. Slafkovsky plays his 200th game tomorrow. Has he done anything in these 200 games to change your opinion on his ceiling? Yeah.
I think he's got a chance to be really good. Dominant power forward.
Yeah.
He's just 21 years old. He's a kid. Wait till you'll see. Give him a few more years. You know, I remember when this is one thing for Montreal fans who are a little younger. Guy Lafleur wasn't in an 18-year-old draft. He was in a 20-year-old draft.
Mm-hmm.
People, and his first 2 years in Montreal, he didn't overwhelm too many people. There was a lot of talk he was going to get traded. And Sam Pollock and Scotty Bowman said, not on our watch. He's not getting traded. So that saved him. But if you would have had a general manager who maybe hadn't had the success of Pollock, and he was paying attention to the newspaper writers, they might have traded him, and who knows? The rest is history. But no, Slafkovsky's going to, I think it will end up being good. And I think a lot of hockey people think the same thing.
Yep. All right, next question. Ethan Russell. What's up, Ethan? What's the best way to get William ready to jump into the playoffs without playing a regular season game?
Hard practices, really hard practices. Mm-hmm. I've had to do this with players before. It's not that hard to do, especially guys that have talent. This kid's got a lot of talent. But your job as an assistant coach, more than anything else, is to make sure every player is ready to play. It's the unseen part of the Stanley Cup playoffs that nobody acknowledges, because there are injuries that happen every single day in the playoffs. You got to make sure your guys, your extra guys, are ready to go in and not miss a beat. There's certain ways of doing it in practice. I think Minnesota's got a good enough staff to do it. I know their staff intimately, and I that's where I think they're going to have him ready. Like Jack Capuano I worked with Jack, and he'll have that kid ready. He'll have him ready by the time they got to get on the ice. He'll have him ready.
I think he's going to do great. All right, next question. MTL Legends. Question, Pierre, as a former coach, what would you do with a player like Laine when he is consistently losing battles like he is and looks checked out at times?
I'd have a long talk with him privately. So that player has been through a lot, as we all know. I'd never embarrass him in front of his peers. He'd have to come in one-on-one. Some guys need a little pat on the back and a hug. Other guys need to get kicked right in the derriere. Every guy's different. I think this guy's a little different. He doesn't need the kick in the derriere. He needs something else. And so you got to show him, like, when he's on his game, his feet are moving. He is making plays. He's showing skill. He's strong on the puck on the boards. When he's not playing well, he's standing still. He looks small on the boards. He's not making plays through the neutral zone. So you got to coerce him into finding what his identity is. But I would not, this is a player I would not savage. And there's some guys where they're probably watching this going, you were the biggest ass. And I was, because I knew they could take it. And there were other guys I would never, ever do that to. I'm telling you, and those guys would probably say, how come you were so nice to me and so mean to that guy? Because there's certain guys that could take, you know what I mean? Everything's different. So that's just how it goes.
All right. Next question. Juice _031017. Would James Haggins be a good fit with the Boston Bruins? I think so. Yeah.
Lush Mellis has done really well in Providence.
To start.
He's been really good to start. I've what I thought of him. I liked him. I did a lot of games on TV this year. I think he's going to be a really good, like an elite 3 in the NHL, like an elite 3. A guy, if you win the cup and he's your 3, you got a chance.
Yep.
He's not there yet, but he's going to get there. I think Haggins could be an elite 2.
Me too.
An elite. I don't think he can be an elite 1. Not yet.
Yep.
I think he could be an elite 2.
If they could find the elite 1, he could be the Krejci to the Bergeron, is the way I was saying.
That's really good, Jimmy. I agree with that. Yep.
All right, next question. Randy Workman, do you think with the Hart being awarded to the best player in the league, should there be a reward for the most valuable to their team? Well, isn't that
like an individual? So every team, I think there is.
Every team. Some teams do that. I don't know what they have different names each team, but they do.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. Teams do that.
Yeah.
The league doesn't. The league's not going to sponsor that.
The league isn't. Yeah, they just leave that.
There's only one award I'd like to see. They did it. They did it for the Selke Trophy, the best defensive forward. There should be the best defensive defenseman. There should be. It's really wrong that there isn't, and there should be, because the Norris Trophy is for the guy that gets the most points.
Yeah.
Erik Karlsson won the Norris Trophy. He was -23. Come on. He's not the best defenseman. He's the best offensive defenseman in the league. You're not the best defenseman.
Yeah. All right. Next question. Franco, question. I won't say comparable, but are there similarities between Kucherov's game and Demidov's potential? Did you know?
Yeah.
I thought you said that early.
I think so. Yeah. No, I think so.
Yeah.
The one guy, I think there's a lot of similarities there. I see more power. Like the power in Demidov's game reminds me a lot of Max Afinogenov, who played in Buffalo for a long time. Yeah, there's a lot of similar, but this guy's way more talented. Afinogenov was a good player. He was a good player. This guy's better. His
instinct is what gets me.
Well, around the net, like, he makes plays. This guy's hard on the puck. He's special. He's really special. All right.
Next question. What do we got? Gally, do you think the Senators will upset the Leafs in the first round? No. I think it'll be a good series.
It's not, because I want those guys in Ottawa to do unbelievably well. I got a soft spot in my heart for all those kids.
Yep.
But I just think Toronto's just a better team, more experienced right now. Doesn't mean Ottawa down the road isn't going to do well. They are, and they could upset them. But
This is a huge stepping stone.
I just think it's a big step. It's
Yeah.
a big step. Most of those guys have never even seen a playoff game.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're going to get a chance to.
What do we got next? Energized. Assuming it stays like this, which wild card team, Mini, St. Louis, or Ottawa, or Montreal, would you say has the chance to go on a deep run?
I wouldn't want to play St. Louis if they're healthy. Binnington scares me. He's on top of it when he's on it.
Yeah.
That's the team I wouldn't want. I just think Minnesota's a year away. They've got players coming, and they're going to have a lot of cap room. Montreal's playing with house money, and Ottawa just doesn't have a lot of experience right now.
Yeah. All right, next question. AG, have teams found holes in Marty's overall system, or are the players not executing it properly?
No, I don't think. Yeah, it's a good question, but I don't think they found holes in the system. It's just they've overextended. Jimmy, I think you would agree they've a lot of their guys have overachieved for most of the year, and they're tired. And people don't want to hear that, but it's the reality of the business.
It's true.
They're just out of gas.
All right, next question. Mike Gaudette, who will Montreal get now on the second line with Demidov as a center in free agency? I think it's going to happen through a trade, to be honest.
I do too. I think it's going to be
I've been looking at
trade.
the free agent market. It's not too deep on centers.
Yeah, I don't think Montreal wants to blow their brains out on free agency money.
Yeah.
I think they'd rather do it through a trade. So
you don't have to worry about persuading players.
Yeah, I just think it's going to be a trade. I'm with Jimmy on that.
All right, next question. Alex Evanowski. Jacob Truscott just signed with the Grand Rapids in Detroit. Good catch, Alex. What can the Wings expect from him? I know he was the captain at UM.
Just be a hardworking, industrious player that can get points. It's a development. It's not going to happen overnight. It takes time. And
right.
here, just one more thing on Truscott. Yeah. Chris Draper's son, Keenan, plays at Michigan, so Draper would have seen him.
You're already there. Yeah,
he would know him really well.
All right, next question. Jason Logan, what's up, Jay? Pierre, tell Sid we say hello. Pierre, have you ever seen anything as fun as Voronkov's 10-minute penalty, gets kicked out of the game but keeps playing? Isn't the ref meant to tell the coach? Did you see that, Pierre?
No, but I heard about it.
Yeah.
I heard.
I didn't see it, but I read about it, Jay. That is crazy.
It is. I heard about it. I started laughing. My wife was, "What's wrong with you?" I was on the phone. I was just giggling, and she's like, "What are you doing?"
All right, next question. Icello, thoughts on the Canadiens bringing both Arbor and his brother into the lineup, give the team a boost of energy?
They're not going to bring the brother up this year. He's going to play in the playoffs in the American League. They got a chance to go on a run. Florian's had a really good year in Laval. He really has. I think, as we said, if the Canadiens make the playoffs, if game one doesn't go the way they want, I think Arbor goes in for game two. I don't think he'll start game one. I'd be surprised.
All right, next question. I think we got three more. Ron LaRoque, excuse me. The Gooley hit, don't you think, was a mistimed hit and not a bad hit?
Yes, and he absolutely. And the player that he hit is a kid out of college. He's a young kid. He's learning his trade. But here's what I would tell you, and I'm not trying to be mean, because I think it's important. Like, you look at all these guys and you say, okay, well, how did that happen? How did that happen? You know? The truth is that Gooley's trying to set the tone for his team, and he stepped down early. And he kind of got caught in the trolley tracks. I get it. I totally get it. But he didn't mean to do it like that. Yeah, I didn't think it was that bad. I just didn't think it was that bad.
No, I'm with Pierre on that one. All right, next question. Alex B. Smith, what's up, Alex? Of the teams that are just missing out of the playoffs, is there one that you feel could take a downward turn next year? That's a good question.
Of the teams that are just missing out in the playoffs, is there one, I think?
That's a good question. Yeah.
Well, does okay, go ahead.
The New York Islanders.
I'm going to agree. I just had to go around the league. So, I think Anaheim continues to rise.
Right.
I think San Jose kind of stays the same.
Yep.
Maybe up a little, but pretty similar, right?
I think Vancouver bounces back too.
Bounce back
if they're healthy.
bounce back.
Yep.
But I like what you said about the Islanders.
Here's
What's that?
Here's a dark horse for taking a downward, but I don't know if it can get any worse. What about the Islanders' rival?
For the Ranger?
Yes.
Oof. Ooh, that would be nasty.
They have, I think you'd agree with me, Pierre. They have probably the most interesting offseason on the horizon out of any team.
That could be nasty if that were to happen.
That's going to be really interesting. See what we're saying about the Rangers 3 months from now. Going to be very interesting.
That's a good, 2 good takes from you. Really good.
When we're doing our Wednesday shows, or once a week when the weather gets warm and we're through free agency, that will be one of our topics for sure.
Yeah, those are 2 really good takes. I agree with both of them, actually.
Thank you. All right, I think we got one more. What do we got? Vincent Yoel. Hello, gentlemen. Love that the Habs held on at the deadline. Helps the young guns experience meaningful games down the stretch, worth more than a couple mid-round draft picks, in my opinion. Totally agree, Vincent. Totally agree.
That's right. 100% he's right.
Yep.
He's right.
Oh, we got 2 more. We can take them. Let's go.
Of course.
Ethan Russell. Do you think if the Bruins choose to retool this summer, do you think they need to make a big trade for a center? Yes. They need to get a center. That's the biggest thing.
But I don't know how many of those guys are available.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
they're not the only ones looking too. That's
they're hard. They're hard. That's what I mean. They're hard to get, those guys.
Yeah.
You know, not everybody's going to trade Joe Thornton.
Exactly. I just think that this is going to be longer than I know the fans want and believe. And I'm not trying to be, the bearer of bad news here. I'm just trying to be real. I think if they want to do it right, it's got to be longer. They got to go through it. We'll see. All right. Next question. Iselo, so much respect for what Pierre does, his knowledge of the game and his attitude. Huge Canadiens fan, and that loss was so frustrating. I'm starting to really think we'll miss the playoffs by a point.
Oh, don't say that. Oh,
I get it. I get the stress.
The way I understand it, correct me if I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm.
If Montreal or if Columbus goes to OT tonight and wins, the Canadiens are in.
Right. Columbus needs to win in regulation.
Columbus needs to win in regulation.
Yep.
And still, Montreal controls their own destiny, because if they win tomorrow,
correct.
It's over.
They still got.
So the one thing I'll say, Philly's playing a lot better. Like, they're having fun. Bradshaw's made it camp fun, not camp no fun.
Yep.
And so who knows? And you know what? I respect what Dean Evison and Columbus have done, but how much did they have to blow out mentally and physically to beat Washington back to back, especially the Sunday game in Washington? Like, Saturday, I get it. They were home and it was their home game. And I kind of get that.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking good thoughts. I'm thinking good thoughts for Montreal.
Yep, I am too. I
don't want Dino Evison mad at me, because he's a buddy of mine, but I'm thinking good thoughts for Montreal.
I would say too, I forgot to mention this in my sick pick of the night though, but for you bettors out there, if you are thinking Columbus, there's no point in just betting and win. You got to bet them in regulation. You get better value, but because they know if they're down a goal with 3 minutes, Pierre, they're pulling that goalie. They're going for that because they do not want to go to overtime, or if they're tied, they might even do it because they can't go to overtime. So regulation is the thing. If you like Columbus, that's the advice I'd give you there. All right. Listen, great show today. Really enjoyed talking to our good friend, Billy Guerin. Wow. He was awesome.
How about Billy coming on the day of a huge game? That was so classy.
That's twice he's done that, for us.
Oh, that was like, he was in, like, I know he was in there pumping the iron. I know he was. I could see he had a little flex going. He was trying to intimidate us. Not going to work, BG.
He's great. He was great. I always love talking to him, and what a great sense of humor as well. And of course, thanks to you in the comment sections for all your questions, and to all our viewers and listeners, and to our wonderful staff up in Sick Podcast Studios in Montreal. By the way, great job, guys. In yellow, Sammy, Tony, Grant, and Chris Nyland, and they were in U-Course, joined remotely, Pierre. That was awesome. Looked like a cool environment at the old Manoir. I hope you guys had fun. That was a great show. And look forward to many more, not just one. Look forward to many more. That's what I'll say.
Good.
Until tomorrow. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to say, we do have more all-star guests coming on the rest of the week. Tomorrow is TBD. Could just be Pierre and me, which is fine. It's more time for questions with you guys too, which we love. We'll let you know early morning. But Thursday, the one and only Scotty Bowman will be joining us here on the Eye Test on the Sick Podcast.
I just have a question. Did Scotty switch from Thursday to Wednesday, or is he still Thursday?
No, he went from Friday to Thursday.
And so Kenny's Friday.
And Kenny is Friday. And
Kenny Holland, the great
Kenny
two
Holland
Hall
on
of Famers back to back.
2 Hall of Famers back to back. Thursday, Scotty Bowman. Friday, Ken Holland. Both live shows, 4 p.m. Eastern. You can catch us here. Until tomorrow, though, this has been another edition of the Eye Test on the Sick Podcast Network.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Eye Test with Pierre McGuire and Jimmy Murphy on YouTube, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.